Hey, Christoph and Mo, I'm wondering, do you two know how to do, does either of you know how to do that cool thing in Twitter Spaces where you kind of like pin links to the chat or whatever?
Yeah, sure thing. You just need to, I think it's somewhere hidden in the share button under each tweet. You kind of have to go into each tweet. It takes a second. You're trying to add the one for the newsletter?
Yeah, exactly, just so that everyone can find it.
Yeah, I just added it now. Should be up there.
Perfect. Yeah, I just wanted to put that link up there for everybody since kind of the new format that we've been trying out is to kind of review this newsletter. So, before we introduce things and kick things off, you think we should get started, Christoph, or wait a couple more minutes?
Yeah, sounds good. I think it's pretty loose format. There's no one we're urgently waiting for, so we can just start
Cool.
chatting here.
So this is a Bitcoin Design Community Call number 42. Is that right? Yeah.
Yep, lucky number.
And the new format we're kind of experimenting with here, is we're taking the newsletter that comes out on the same day, and we're just kind of going through all the topics in the newsletter because it really represents. We feel it really represents all the different stuff that's going on in the community. So if you're working on a project or mentioned in this newsletter, feel free to raise your hand so that you can come talk about it. But yeah, we're kind of just going to casually go through the newsletter that Christoph just shared in the tray there.
Yeah, and just speaking of that, I don't think we've really chatted about this year and next year, whatnot. But just earlier, I took a few minutes looking back, and I think we've had 16 newsletters this year. And some other numbers I dug up was we uploaded 103 videos on YouTube on the Bitcoin Design YouTube account. I think they're pretty much all recordings of calls and a few presentations. That's like and then we've had 174 completed call issues in the Bitcoin Design calendar. So it's pretty much a call happening every other day throughout the year. Seems like I guess we talked a lot this year, that's for sure. And then related to the design guide and website, we closed 211 pull requests. Would be kind of interesting to see, to look back and see what the design guide actually looked at the beginning of the year and compared to the end of the year now. I think there was an insane amount of refinement to do that happened during that time. But it would also be interesting to look back at some of the projects. But maybe that's for another time, or we can all do that in our own time or so. I'm gonna do that a little bit on the weekly newsletter that I typically write. But otherwise, those are just kind of some of my intro thoughts um, for the newsletter.
Yeah, it's awesome. I don't even think we didn't even have the Lightning content officially released this time last year. I think it was mid-February is when we kind of called it done for now. But yeah, we didn't even have it all done then. So it's come a long ways.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, yeah, cool. The so let's hop on the newsletter. So the newsletter is um, it comes out every 3 weeks, and we try to give a very concise summary, just a bunch of bullet points for everyone who doesn't want to hang out on Slack all the time, pay attention in all the different channels and whatnot, and all the different projects, just to kind of give the kind of the big things that are happening that were being discussed or that people did. Um, and this is typically recently Mo and I have been the primary editors of this one, but it's meant to be community oriented. So if you want to add things, suggest things for the newsletter, you can join in Slack in the Spread the News channel and help out if you'd like. I think next year, early next year, would be amazing to have another editor uh, or one or two more people maybe come in and help with this, and also with the Twitter account would be amazing. Um, yeah, so the if we just start from top to bottom in the current newsletter, we can go over everything and we can add just a little bit more meat to it. The first bullet is about this call, not much to say. The second one is about the wallet scrutiny project, and for anyone not familiar with this one, um, This is a collaboration that started maybe a couple months ago. So Wallet Scrutiny is a website that does security reviews of Bitcoin wallets to ensure that whoever provides that wallet can't just steal your funds, that they're not vaporware, that their source code is available, that the application can be compiled in a way so to ensure that the what you actually run on your device is the same code that they actually open sourced. And we kind of have a few design projects, different design tasks going on. One is a bit of rebranding, the other one is website usability, and then there's a whole bunch of information design because the majority of website users are not familiar with reviewing complex security review information. So trying to figure out how to make that happen. And then there's also a Noster integration, the hot new thing that should allow not just the Wallet Security team, but also anyone else to submit their own security reviews to the site. So if you're interested in helping out with that one, we're in the middle of some design explorations, and I think early next year we're going to one by one kind of try to wrap them up and get them implemented into the site. There are a few videos around from call recordings. The designs are all in Figma. And Mo has been doing a great job keeping track of taking notes and posting notes on GitHub. So you can kind of see how the project so far has evolved.
Yes. Sorry to interrupt you. Speaking of helping out, part of the UX research that we're doing for that project is some usability testing on the website. So if anyone feels like spending a couple moments just to go through the website, feel free to message me on Twitter.
Yes, that would be awesome. It's it's really great to get reviews, to get just regular feedback. Like how do you find the service? Do you feel like the information that you're looking for, does the information make sense? Just really basic things can be very helpful in these design processes. Stephen, why don't you take the next one? This one is about the PayJoin call.
Yeah, sure. So I brought Dan Gould onto our Learning Bitcoin and Design call series this past week to learn about PayJoins from him. And it's basically an on-chain privacy technique. We've heard a lot about, things like CoinJoins and, Whirlpool and different, tools like this for kind of collaborative transactions. But PayJoins is kind of a much simpler one. It's actually an incredibly simple concept. It's just kind of difficult to describe. But you can watch the video where Dan and I are discussing it, and the basic gist is, he's really interested in this concept in terms of, just getting more on-chain Bitcoin wallets to be able to support this feature, just as an option, so that users that do want to, preserve their privacy with this technique have the option to do so. So he opened a PR on the guide and on our design challenges page. So there's now design challenge number 6. So if you're a new designer in the community and you're looking for kind of a smaller, more digestible project to work on, design challenge number 6 is basically Bob wants to buy a wedding ring for Alice, but because the two of them have transacted in the past before, she has a window into his UTXO, so she can kind of see some of his Bitcoin transaction activity. So he wants to be able to make the purchase using a PayJoin without leaking. You're spoiling the big surprise. So basically, the challenge is, can you design a user flow that allows Bob to make a PayJoin transaction as quickly and easily as possible. So if you're interested in that, check out the design challenges page on the Bitcoin Design Guide.
Awesome. Mo, why don't you take the next two? Those are about the UX research kit.
Happy to talk about the UX research toolkit. It's starting to get a lot of fun working on this project because there's been 2 guys who are also UX researchers who've very kindly offered to help to build the kit together. So it's kind of having 3 sets of eyes on it at the moment, and I really enjoy that because we're very much building in public. all of our calls are it's welcome for anyone to join. So if you're subscribed to the Bitcoin Design Calendar, please feel free to join in on those calls. If you're wanting to do some research or wanting to see how we're building the kit. But yeah, it's going really well. We've divided it kind of into two main areas. Um, the one is build and scope out. So that's if you're in the early phases of your project and you're looking to scope out what other applications are doing. And the second part is when you're ready to launch it. So yeah, and we're putting specific UX research tools under each of those headings, well, ones that we recommend you use in those two different phases. So yeah, it's kind of sitting on Notion at the moment. If any of you are familiar with it, it's just it's a really easy online workspace where you can basically build out a website very easily if you're not a developer, which I'm not. So yeah, it's going very well at the moment. We're all collaborating, and if any of you would like to jump on those calls, you're more than welcome. What we're building out at the moment is the competitive research sections. So competitive research, user journey mapping, and the third one, I forget, it's not at the top of my mind. But we're building out those three at the moment, and yeah, would be nice to get some input from other people as well on how you've done competitive research or user journey mapping, how it's helped your project. So yeah, that's it. That's about the UX research toolkit. And what was the next one, Christoph?
I think they were both about the toolkit. One was about the calls. The other one was about where you make that information available, that you're building this in public.
Yeah, so if any of you are in the Bitcoin design community in the Slack channel, so pretty much if you join the Slack channel, hashtag research, or is it UX research? I can't quite remember. There's only one research channel, so if you jump in there, I pretty much share all of my work, and I share the Notion links to where the toolkit is being built at the moment. So yeah, you can, or if you read the newsletter, you can also click on the links within the newsletter, and you can see where it's at the moment. So yeah, we're very much building in public. It's open to all projects to jump in, tell us what's been useful for you in terms of research, tell us what you need, and yeah, we'll see what we can do with that information. Maybe it's needed in version 1 of the kit, or maybe version 2. So yeah, that's it.
Awesome. I think we're gonna have 1,000 kits eventually. So there's the Bitcoin Dev Kit and the Lightning Dev Kit libraries to make development easier. Then we have the UI kit, which is a foundation for starting design work. Then there's the research kit to make it super easy to do your own research instead of having to kind of start everything from scratch. So hopefully we can, all of these things come together to just make building really good Bitcoin projects super easy, and in all of those different aspects and specializations. Next topic, we had the merchant call with BTC Pay. Stephen, you want to chat about that one?
Yeah, so we're doing a call series just to kind of do some research for the merchants content of the Bitcoin Design Guide. And each one of these merchant product reviews, we're looking at a different merchant-focused Bitcoin product. So we looked at BTC Pay last week, and did kind of a deep dive, explored all the features of that. Had some really interesting conversations with Pavel from BTC Pay. And yeah, it's this very, very feature. It's been around for so long in Bitcoin years. I think a lot of us have used it and loved it. It's really just interesting, kind of diving into the history of it in terms of like how it was created and how it's because there's no user data collected, which is a good thing. It's actually unclear exactly out in the wild how people are using it. So yeah, it's this tool that's incredibly versatile, and we talked about some of the pros of that and some of the cons of that, and just kind of how it solves problems for its users. So you can check out that video if you want to see it. And our next merchant call, we're waiting until the new year. We're going to be looking at a product called Tianki, which is from a startup based in El Salvador, and they've built this kind of Bitcoin merchant solution there. So we'll be looking at that one next on January 4th, I believe.
Awesome. Yeah, that all of these calls, they will inform the new merchants or the upcoming merchant section in 2023. If 2022 was a lot about Lightning, adding that to the guide and dealing with all the intricacies of Lightning wallets and liquidity and all those interactions, then maybe the merchant interactions will be a big topic for probably at least the first half of the next year. So it's going to be interesting. Because we don't just want, like, if we want to actually use those wallets that we just came up with, that we spent all year trying to figure out, people also need to accept them. We need to be able to pay for stuff with them. And that needs to be smooth. Okay, next is a Bitcoin design guide. I'll take the first one. That was the update to the prototype of the daily spending wallet. So if you're not familiar with the daily spending wallet, that is a big reference design, consists of something like 12 pages that really detail out what a mobile Lightning wallet could be like, from the first use, sending, receiving, backing up your keys, settings, in just a ton of detail. There are, like I said, a dozen pages. There are around 200, almost 200 UI mockups in there to illustrate everything. So if you're a designer or builder, you can just basically look at those and inform your own design decisions and development decisions on those. And so we packed about 60 of those UI screens into a clickable Figma prototype that you can pull up on your desktop or on your phone to click through to get a real sense or a sense for, like, as close as you can get without building it to what an end user might actually experience. It always changes your perspective once you actually tap around and feel things on an actual device. It's always different than when you discuss or when you see a lot of static screens in front of you. You'll realize you might notice things that don't work. You'll stumble across different things that might not stand out so much in design tools, or when you're reading them up on a page on your desktop. So would love to get your input on those and on that prototype. And if you go to bitcoin.design, go to the guide, daily spending wallet, on that landing page, about halfway down, that's where you'll find it, or just click through in the newsletter. So that was a lot of work behind the scenes to get that done, and now hopefully it's nice and smooth and easy. Some other things were updated, some other minor updates to the design guide. The personal finance page got a little bit of a revision. So the idea that with that page is that people have, like, in traditional finance, the way we deal with our euros or dollars or so, and the way that we organize our own budgets and organize our own money at home or in our family or for ourselves, follow certain patterns, and financial experts have certain recommendations. Like there's you're spending money, then you're saving money. Maybe you're saving up for a new sofa or so. There's kind of this type of savings fund. Maybe you have an emergency fund in case something important happens. Maybe you have, like, your investments in a different account, and each of those has different patterns, and there are different amounts in there requiring different combinations or balances of security and convenience. And so we're trying to match these types of ideas that people might be familiar with, that are kind of established, and see how they could work out in a Bitcoin world with Bitcoin applications and hardware wallets and everything else around it. So this, I think the updated examples on here are a little bit more realistic than what we've had. The old ones were, I don't know, I think they were done 2 years ago. So since then we've learned, I think, a good amount more. Things have gotten a little bit more refined. So check that one out. It's the personal finance page. Next one is an update to the manual backup page. Stephen, do you want to talk about that one?
Yeah, sure. You talked about the descriptor thing. Yeah.
Yep.
So just I mean, this is a quick update. Basically, in our daily spending wallet, when the user's backing up their wallet, backing up their seed phrase, we give this option to where they can download a printable template. And so it basically is this template that comes pre-populated with some non-sensitive information about the wallet. Then they can print that out and then write their seed phrase on that manually. So I added an output descriptor to that. Thanks to Steve Myers for helping me get the descriptor looking correct. But yeah, the basic idea is that if somebody was in a challenging recovery scenario and they needed to recover from that paper backup, they might be able to scan that descriptor and glean some of the wallet info instead of having to type in some stuff manually. So it's not an ideal recovery scenario, but it might make a sort of rough emergency recovery scenario from a paper wallet backup a little bit smoother.
Yeah, it's a little bit abstract, but it's a good addition. It's a good technique. Abstract, like a lot of things in Bitcoin, I guess. Okay, next one we covered. Oh, here's another one. There's a new pluralization section in the units and symbols page. Units and symbols really get a lot of regular discussion. People feel very strongly about whether to use commas or periods or whatnot to separate their the decimals from the thousands and whatnot. And this edition talks about whether to pluralize sats, or sats, Bitcoin, and Bitcoins. And as with all the other things, the main thing is that there are standards in different countries that you should follow, ideally, and browsers and operating systems. There are various libraries and standards that it's really best to just rely on those to kind of solve problems in a way. There's maybe some really tiny little space for unique design solutions, but primarily it would be good to really just kind of follow what people are already used to in their own countries and cultures.
Yeah, I mean, you said that, like, you're right. People, I've observed this too. People are incredibly opinionated about units and symbols, which one we should use, how we should format things, and all that, which just to me is just proof that it just depends. Like, it just depends on what makes sense to you and your cultural upbringing and all that. It's like the fact that people are so opinionated about it just gives proof to me that there's not really like one right way to format these things, and that you really just kind of have to tailor the formatting to whoever you think is going to be using your wallet.
Yeah, I mean, and units are not, dates are a very similar thing. Whether in the US, in the short form, you put the month first, then the date, and then the year. While I think everywhere else, it's the date, then month, then year. And that, I go back and forth between those a lot, and I still trip up sometimes. These types of things, these differences just simply exist, and trying to force other people on them. It's just not going to work, I think.
We're human.
All right. Sorry?
I just said we're human,
Yeah. We're diverse, I guess. Then the next one, seeking feedback. So Mark, Rayner, and Kroom, they published a first edition of an online magazine called Bloidzine 2212. I've briefly looked over it, so I don't know too much about it. It's an experimental magazine about Bitcoin. It is free. The online version is actually just a Figma file, but you can also print it. You can print it yourself. There are instructions, and you can distribute it locally wherever you want. I believe this first edition is about El Salvador primarily. And so this experimental, first time they're trying it out, Mark is really happy when he gets feedback. So please take a look. I actually don't really know what the best link for it is right now. They have a profile page on Bolt Fun, but maybe just check out the Bitcoin Design newsletter and just click through from there. I need to take another closer look, but I love these initiatives. I hope that works out. They get some good feedback and they make more of them. Stephen,
Yeah.
next one. Oh, Mo,
sorry.
go ahead.
Yeah, I think we linked to the Figma file in the newsletter, if I remember correctly. So they can just, if you have the newsletter, you can just click on it, and then you can see the Figma file.
Talking about Figma, it's interesting how this is basically a magazine in Figma. There was some service that a couple months ago they had a DOS attack, so their website was down. So they simply redirected, but they had a really precise, really nice design file for their homepage. So they really just redirected their domain to go to that Figma page, and there were all of a sudden like hundreds of cursors floating around in their Figma space. So during the DOS attack, they simply, used their Figma file as kind of their homepage, which is, I guess it worked, during that critical time, and was probably a good stress test for the Figma servers at the same time. It's interesting. But next one is the header images. Stephen, that's your baby.
Yeah, there's basically we got a lot of open issues on the design guide repository right now for just pages that need headers, like they have old outdated header images that don't make sense and whatever new context, or they're just missing a header entirely. So um, I was trying to hustle to get as many of those done by end of year as possible. So had a good working session with Jakob and Dada about we were brainstorming some ideas, and then I picked up those and have been continuing with those. So got a cool new picture for the first use page and the automatic cloud backup page and all that. Still probably got like 10 or so more to do. So if anyone's a new designer in the community looking for kind of simple tasks to do, just message me and I'm happy to get you involved with this stuff. But yeah, it's been a good kind of test case because I've been going through a major AI art kick lately. So it's been a major kind of test case for me in terms of just you know learning about writing good prompts and all that. It's kind of got me inspired to do like a learning Bitcoin and design call about just focused entirely on like learning some AI art tools or stuff like that. Just because sometimes we talk about Bitcoin on those calls, and sometimes we talk about design tools that you can use, and so seems like an interesting thing to look at with the community. It's a tool. It's not good or bad. It's just how you use it, and you got to learn what it's capable of and what it's not capable of.
Yeah, we also in the Designathon we had an AI art project, and we're using it for saving Satoshi and some of these cover images for different events, like this one. And now for the headers with Stephen, it seems like it's trickling through more and more over time. These kind of new and exciting creative tools. They're definitely not easy to master. It takes some time, takes some patience to get used to them, but it is pretty cool, I would say. Stephen, next one is Bolt 12 and async payments. I think you're also the pro on that one.
Yeah, pro. Yeah, I think we talked about this a little bit too on one of the previous community calls. That's kind of when this project was just starting off, but um, yeah. So we're trying to explore what the user experience of async payments looks like, and it's the basic gist is that right now it's really hard to receive a Lightning payment if you're Lightning Wallet is on your phone and it's turned off and in your pocket or whatever. So this is it's a new scheme that's being worked on to allow these kinds of payments to happen. We're trying to explore what that looks like when it hasn't received kind of full support across the ecosystem. So I did some FigJam and Figma flows that kind of show, the different entry points, the way a user could make a payment. Maybe it's by scanning, uh, a Bolt 12 offer or sending to a Lightning address or something like that. And then, all the things that could go wrong along the way in terms of, okay, well, maybe this person's wallet doesn't support scanning this request, or maybe this person's wallet does not support async payments yet. And so far, I mean, I haven't uncovered anything that seems like too, uh, unfeasible. I think it's just a matter of, um, while it's crafting good error messages for, when things don't always go as expected for the user. But yeah, you can click the links in the newsletter if you want. you can take a look at those Figma files and leave any feedback there if you have any comments or concerns.
Sweet. Next one is about Bitcoin Beach looking for people who have used their wallets for user testing. And yeah, Mo, did you have any thoughts on that one? I think you added it to the newsletter.
Yeah, I know. I see Andrew's here. We love working with the Galloy team, but I think Millie's probably done a redesign there, and she posted in the general channel that she was looking for some people to help out do some user testing. But I think maybe Andrew might be a good one to chat more about that. I see he has made a request to speak. Not sure if he can get on there.
Just added him. Might take a second.
Mic check. Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, loud and clear. Good to have you on here.
Awesome. What's up, everybody? Good to hear you on the call. I just hop up. Mia's been working on some new flows, new designs based on some user feedback that was received in the Bitcoin Beach wallet. And, we've been working with Mo in terms of UX research and process, and also have a prototype. And so anybody who's interested can reach out. I think the link is in the newsletter. Reach out to Mia, get the prototype, give some feedback. Really excited about it. It's kind of the next evolution of Bitcoin Beach Wallet. While I've got the mic, I'll just kind of give a shill for, we're working on some additional features, and I've been putting together kind of a bit of a bounty program to provide projects that people that want to contribute could pick up. And so we've had bounties for sort of unified QR, and some of the other elements, projects in the app. We're working on display currencies, so that folks in other countries can more simply use the wallet in use their own currency. NFC integration, and alongside that, some translations, so other languages. So we've got a lot to do, and we're welcoming participation both from the UX testing, the prototype testing perspective, but also anybody that wants to work on the app. So join us at chat.galloy.io, and happy to have folks come in, designers, devs, whatever. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Let's see. Next one was Jonas. Bitcoin. There's a website called Bitcoin Dev Philosophy, which I was not aware of either. But so bitcoindevphilosophy.com. Check that out. It is pretty epic. It's super long. There's a lot of text there, and I guess it is all about Bitcoin development and how to think about it and how to go about it. And Jonas is looking to also create AI art to illustrate some of those concepts. So join the art channel or the Design-Art channel for some of those images. He's looking to illustrate things like adversarial thinking, open source, trustlessness, privacy, decentralization. Another really cool project. I see Gerald's also created a few things for that. A couple people are chiming in. So also really interesting, even just to consider about how you actually represent these concepts well, and what type of approaches there are. Next bullet here. Okay, that's about me. So for the wallet scrutiny project, I came up with an idea of kind of the code supply chain. And it goes back to something I said earlier about how code makes it from the developer onto your device, the different steps that happen in the meantime, and kind of the different attack vectors and kind of security issues that can appear at each of those steps, and how we can visualize that. What's a good place to give feedback on that one? Maybe also just click through the newsletter. I think that's the best way to do it. Another one here. Ooh, this is a little bit tricky one to describe. So inter-wallet communication on mobile. So if you're familiar with Bit21, that's like a link you can click that opens a Bitcoin wallet. So the problem is what happens, which one gets picked if you have multiple ones installed? How does the operating system decide which one? Typically, it just picks the last one that was installed, but that might not be what you want. So there's no good technical solution for that right now. So wallets and applications are coming up with basically, instead of just taking you to the link, they show you a list of different options and then try to navigate you to the right one. It's really not smooth. Ideally, operating systems figure something out there. But yeah, I think that's something that we might want to add to the guide at some point. I think be a good addition here. Let's see. Next one is about conferences. So conferences. This year, we presented at a few conferences. Stephen was involved in organizing TabConf again. Also had a builder day table there, or a designer day table, I guess. We kicked off the designathon in person. So Mo and I were there, a few other people from the community. We kicked that one off at Bitcoin Amsterdam. So that we had a presence. It wasn't super organized, and we were just in the community. Had just a bunch of discussions happening about what else we can do next year, how we can maybe participate a little bit more, do some more workshops, do some more talks. What would be interesting to people? So if you have feedback on that, it would be really amazing to hear. First of all, which conferences you think are interesting, which people to talk to, what type of design-related content you might want to see. Those would be really. That would be really awesome to hear. So just hop on Slack or raise your hand here. Can bring you up, and we can chat about it. I think the next topic, next point here, that's about advancing Bitcoin. We might actually present there as well, and they're generally looking to showcase more creative work around Bitcoin. And the contact person for that one is Kane, who I'm not familiar with, but you can go to twitter.com/Kane the Oracle, Oracle with an I, ORICLE. So contact him if you'd like to do some creative collaboration there. Next one, the Bitcoin Wallet UI kits. Daniel is building out Swift components for it. And there was an existing library built by Reese some time back and maintained by him. And Daniel contributed some additional button styles, other UI element styles. So going back to earlier when we talked about having kits for everything, this is basically having a UI library, so you don't have to build that from scratch. And I keep talking here. Next one's also about me. I was interviewed by Bolt Fun for the Meet the Maker series. It's just conversation about how I got into this whole thing. It was really interesting. It was nice to talk to Ed and Moritz. So you can check that on YouTube. Just Google for or YouTube search for Bolt Fun and Meet the Maker series. It should pop up there. And along the same lines, if you're not going to be, if you have time, if you want to hack on something over the holidays, Boomy, who, let me see, also on Twitter, he goes by, what does he go by? Just /Boomy, I think. So he's part of the Alby team, and he wants to hack away at some Lightning web apps. And this is actually really interesting. There's some new APIs for WebLN, which allows any website to also list the channels of a connected node. So that way you can do a little bit of node management in your browser just with a pure front end that then connects to a node. I think that's pretty sweet. I would love to have a really nice interface to rebalance my channels, because I still don't have a good one to do that. Okay, but I think I should stop talking now. How about Stephen? Do you want to pick it up from here a little bit?
Yeah, so Legends of Lightning wrapped in the past couple weeks here. Yeah, so we got some links in the newsletter to the live stream and the summary, so check out some of those projects. I talk a little bit about some of the winners here, at least the ones I can remember off the top of my head. Lightsats kind of stole the show. Provide this really easy way to tip people in Bitcoin if they don't already have a Bitcoin wallet, which is the case for most people. So they provided this really easy service where you like I say, you want to tip somebody $1 in Bitcoin. So, you type in their name, a little message for them, and then you pay a Lightning invoice. But they kind of hold it on their end until the person is ready to claim the Bitcoin. So you're not really sending the person Bitcoin, you're sending them a link to claim it from Lightsat. So it's complicated sounding to explain, but it's super easy to use. I made some fortune cookies for our Bitcoin meetup here in Atlanta and stuffed Lightsat's links inside. So it's a super useful service, and pretty much all the tips were claimed. Another cool one that I remember from the winners was a Mutiny Wallet. They've got a Lightning node running in a browser now. The important idea to that is that, you could ship Lightning products without having to go through centralized app stores. So that was a cool thing. I think one of the winners from the Africa track was Agriment, which was kind of like a kind of all-in-one Fedimint-based solution focused on these agricultural communities in Africa. So, they're really trying to say, okay, well, we got this, cool Fedimint thing, but how do we actually create like an end-to-end solution that, takes, all the needs of this community into account, in terms of getting them the hardware and onboarding and all of that. So there's so many cool projects in Legends of Lightning. Definitely check that out. Got this other one here. Interested in learning more about open source funding. Take a look at this guide. Man, I don't know anything about this. I'm looking at this one for the first time. That means somebody, else put this in the newsletter. Huh? What is this?
I did.
You talk.
I think I love hearing the surprise in your voice. Sorry. No, I think that someone had posted that in the community, in the Bitcoin Design Slack community, one of the channels. And I thought, oh, this is great. I think Christoph might even have shared it. I have no idea who
I shared
shared
it
it.
a long time ago, and yeah, I did share it again because someone asked specifically about the kind of the how to make money in open source when you're kind of giving your code away. Like what's like what is there still? What's the reason why people would give you money if you make your things freely available? Complex conversation, but yeah, I did share the link there. Yeah, so that's a good one. Check it out. I think there's the whole guide, that whole website is really good. I think it's just opensource.guide. Just check that one out. It's a really good one. Oh, hey, and Stephen, I did see that Lightsats has a leaderboard where you can see how much people tipped, and it looks like you sent 44 tips, 256K sats. In you're number 7 on the leaderboard now. Congrats! All with your.
Yeah. Thank you. It's a big accomplishment.
They put some gamification in there. Yeah, cool. Boomy is also here. Did you want to say something about your idea of hacking away at a Lightning channel management app over Christmas? Feel free to raise your hand if you'd like. If not, that's also cool. Yeah, next bullet here is Team Satoshi or Saving Satoshi. So that project I'm involved with, learning sci-fi, Bitcoin learning epic. You learn to code, learn Bitcoin coding, you learn how the technology works, you do some active kind of coding terminal exercises, and it's all told through around 10 chapters and various lessons and guided through a sci-fi story based on the history of Bitcoin. Very ambitious project, I think, and we're just working on the website right now, trying to execute on the designs, but also Stacy and some others are also trying to also develop the lesson content a little bit further. Interestingly, the next chapter 3 will be about elliptic curves. And man, I have a lot to learn there. I looked through the first draft and I have so many basic questions, but it'll be nice. In the end, I'll have to learn it because I'll have to design some UI for it for people to learn it. So I learn a lot in that project, and the designing part is fun. And we're looking for collaborators and contributors if you want to chime in. That's at savingsatoshi.com. There's a link at the bottom. Link takes you to the repository, and we have a Slack channel, Designathon-game, also for it if you'd like to chime in. Oh, next one is about FOSDEM. Mo, you might you applied there. You want to chat about it?
Forgot to turn my mic on there. So yeah, that's the conference that's happening in Brussels from the 5th to the 6th of February, or is it the 4th to the 5th? I can't quite remember. But yeah, it's going to be an open source conference. I've never actually been to one of these before, so I'm really looking forward to going to it and learning how other open source projects collaborate, work together, build together. I think that's really interesting because it's definitely a very different sort of collaborative process than than the way things are done commercially. So yeah, I'm looking forward to going. I've applied to be a speaker, but about my UX research toolkit. So who knows if that gets accepted? But I think I'll just go anyway and yeah, learn about how learn about working in open source. But yeah, I don't know, Christoph, I know you presented virtually there during the Corona times. So you're probably a bit more familiar with what's going to be on all of the different stages and that kind of thing. But
Kind of,
yeah.
yeah. So we presented the last 2 years during pandemic. So Johns and I did these presentations. The first one, and they're both on the YouTube channel. In the first one, the community was only half a year young, so we had lots of ambitions, but not much to show. Then a year later, we talked about those ambitions and the first steps, and then a year later we presented again, kind of looking back and see kind of how far we've gotten. So hoping that this is also interesting for other communities in open source to maybe learn from or give us feedback on things we can do better. So that was a nice one. This one, the one, and we did that fully remote. Hold on, I'm gonna have to move here a second. Sorry, I'm gonna have to move here. Yeah, so we did these presentations. You can find them on YouTube. And I think FOSDEM covers a lot of really diverse topics, everything around open source. So it's not just our little niche. So it should be a good one to check out. I haven't looked at all the recent tracks though, but it has a open design track that should be really interesting. I'll also have to take a look. Cool. Next one in the list is Pacific Bitcoin conference in Los Angeles on November 10 and 11. I don't know if anyone's going there. I think who organizes it? Swan or River? I think I'm not totally sure. Swan. Okay. Yeah, basically, I asked in the general channel if there are people excited about any conferences, and they reached out and they said, they would love to have people from the design community show up. So maybe we should show up there and represent, see what we can make happen there. And the next one here, we have an opportunities channel. I think this is kind of pre-Christmas time. It's been kind of slow. So last time we had like 6 or 7 posts. This time we only had a single one. So there's an application called Simple Crypto, which is a app that teaches you about Bitcoin, all the fundamentals. And I've had a call with Yannick yesterday, I think. And so it's two students. They did this on their spare time. And now they're trying to turn this into, they actually just started a company around this and looking to evolve it. So they want to add more educational content, add more features, and they're looking for a freelance designer to help if you're interested. So just check the opportunities channel for some information on that one. And, we're 5 minutes to the hour. We kind of reached the bottom of this list. And there's one more paragraph that Mo wrote, and maybe she should take that one on.
I love that.
You have to sing it.
I have to sing it.
Yes.
We had a call this afternoon, and I jumped on the call. I started singing Merry Christmas to one of the devs. I was like, yeah, let's just do it. But yeah, no, it's been a good year, good 2022. I hope that it's been good for everyone as well. That's been building and yeah, helping to develop more Bitcoin products for the ecosystem. So I think we just wanted to wish everyone a good, happy Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. If you don't, also good. And also wish you a good, some really good celebrations on New Year's Eve, wherever you're going to be celebrating that. And thanks for being part of the community. And please continue being part of the community in 2023. Yeah, that's pretty much what I wrote, but I kind of made it 10 times longer.
Very nice wrap up there, Mo. Well done. Yeah, so that's kind of it. Anyone else wants to chat about anything? Anything else you'd like to leave? Any thoughts you'd like to leave for the end of the year?
Raise your hand now or hold your peace until the 2023 community call.
Ooh, any predictions for where we'll be in 1 year? What do you think will have happened?
Well, we'll have merchants content in the guide, you know, probably a reference design for a point of sale. I'm hoping that the industry has got a better grasp on async payments by then, and that Lightning payments are super easy. And you know, I don't know. I think you know, eventually we're going to be getting back in as time crawls on. We're going to get back into, you know, bull market territory eventually. At least one would hope. And then it's just you know, it's going to change the kind of the dynamic and the vibe of you know, contributing to Bitcoin projects, because it's going to be all you know, more you know, more buzz and hype and all of that, which is, you know, always has upsides and downsides.
Do you think the call in 1 year will be held on Nostr Spaces instead of Twitter Spaces?
Well, you never know. Maybe it will be. Depends on if how much traction it gets. But I've started experimenting with Nostr today. It's been something I've had my eye on for a long time. Then my friend Alex finally, you know, convinced me to do it. And I'll say one thing, that they actually have a Nostr design community now as well on Telegram. So similar to what we're doing here in Bitcoin, about in terms of trying to improve the user experience of these open source Bitcoin wallets. They're trying to improve the user experience of open source Nostr wallet, or not Nostr clients. So hey, you know, if you're a designer, you're interested in you know, interested in privacy and, you know, decentralized applications and all that, you might want to take a look at Nostr. For anyone who's not aware, Nostr is a decentralized social media protocol that's been getting a lot of talk lately. So yeah, if you're looking for some projects to contribute to, maybe check out their Telegram channel and lurk for a little bit and see what kind of projects they have going on.
It's kind of amazing how much buzz this all of a sudden received. And
well, hey, when you try to ban certain types of speech, you end up amplifying it.
Yeah, for sure. And Wallet Scrutiny is actually also implementing Nostr, or working on implementing it for their comments section. So I guess I am working on a design for that comment section right now. So I guess I am working on Nostr UX already. So come on in. I think there's a lot of very fundamental work that needs to be done that can really make a difference. Yeah, that about wraps it up. We're close to the hour. Thanks, Stephen, for starting this call here when my app here just wouldn't allow me. Thanks everyone else for joining, and I guess we'll see you in the next year.
Sweet, sounds good. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I'll catch you all later.
Happy 2023. Bye, everyone.